Hi, friends. Happy Monday. Oh my God. Happy Monday. My voice, I don't know what happened there, but hello. I'm here hanging out with you guys, and I cannot wait to do today's Monday tarot and oracle card vibe check. A little bit later than usual, but sometimes you just kind of follow where your energy is and where the vibe is, and that's what I always encourage y'all to do. And so I was taking a little bit of my own advice to just follow the energy, and not force the vibe if it doesn't feel right to read at that moment. So here we are. So you guys know how this works by now. I think this is the fourth one that I've done. So I've been doing these weekly for a month now. So let's see what the tarot cards have in store for us for this last week of April. I'm pretty excited. I can't believe we're already like 4 months through the entire year. Like, that feels crazy to me. I don't know how that happened. But let's just see, what do we need to know about this week? What are some challenges that we're going to face? And how are we going to overcome them? Okay. And you guys are going to hear my cats doing crazy shit in the background. Okay. One more. All right. So I've got a bunch of cards here that wanted to come out and play. We've got 7 cards to start with. And we'll see as this goes along if it makes sense to pull some more. So let me just do a little bit of a quick glance here to see what the balance is in terms of the suits. So interestingly, I'm not seeing any swords. I'm seeing 2 pentacles, 1 cup, and then 4 cards that are wands. I'm seeing 3 reversals and no major arcana. And so that's kind of an interesting one. So I'll show you guys all the cards. We've got these to start us off, and then our next little group of tarot cards for the week ahead is these 4. And so this is what we're dealing with this week. Let's just see how this makes sense, you guys. It's interesting because sometimes the story of a week with the cards that come up is like very straightforwardly like, okay, here's the focus of the week. And sometimes it's a little bit more mundane, right? There's a little bit more of just day-to-day life stuff that's going on. I know last week I think we pulled the tower and the 10 of cups afterwards. So I don't know what everyone's tower moment was. I actually don't really know what my tarot moment was. If I think back, I'm sure I can come up with it. But it's interesting to pay attention to these cards and see how do they relate to the week that we just had. And so I'm actually probably going to do that too, is rewatch the video from last week and see how the fuck did that work with my last week. How did that make sense? So let's just get into it. And hello to the one person who has just popped in. Hello. So you haven't missed anything. We're just getting started. So the first, actually, I'm going to read these 2 right one after the other. So our first 2 cards for this week, interestingly, are a pair of 10s. And it's interesting because we've also got a 3, a 7, a 2, and 2 2s. So we've got some interesting patterns here. 2 10s, 2 2s, a 3, and a 7. So mostly, so I guess the odd numbers are going to be kind of flying solo, and then our 2 pairs that happen to be even numbers. And so even numbers do tend to be about balance. So I think the week will end up being a pretty balanced week, like nothing too dramatic. So if you are kind of thinking like, oh my God, this week is going to be a doozy, I actually don't think it will, especially since we've got 2 2s and then 2 10s. And so that kind of adds to this idea of balance. Even numbers in the tarot, and since we are like honestly overflowing with even numbers, does tend to show us that, okay, balance. And I love that there's an even number of even numbers, and that the even numbers that we do have are showing up in pairs. So that is really, really, really interesting. So this week, one thing to look at and pay attention to, even aside from the actual meanings of these cards as individual cards, is pay attention to patterns, especially patterns around even numbers, and see those as signs, right? So if you happen to see like I don't know, 222 or whatever like type of pattern. If you happen to find a playing card on the ground and it's an even number, if you see 2 coins on the ground, if so, you're getting the same email from 2 different people asking you for the same thing, if you're getting the same person emailing you twice, like look for these patterns in your life this week, because I think this week is going to be a bit of a week of omens. And so do pay attention to that. Like, let's say you live in my neighborhood, you might end up seeing a coyote, maybe once, maybe twice. So pay attention to things this week that are coming in pairs, coming in twos. So pay attention to that. If you have 2 different people making an offer on your home and you're selling it and it's not even on the market officially yet, like do see that as a sign. If you've got 2 different people, I don't know, like inviting you to do an artist residency somewhere, like pay attention to these kind of omens and signs this week. That being said, I do think this will end up being a week of some endings. Here we've got 2 different 10s. And so the 10s in the minor arcana does tend to indicate some kind of ending, something coming to a conclusion, right? So we've got this 10 of wands, obviously not a very good time. And so is there a way that you can end particular burdens this week? That could mean delegating to someone else at your workplace. It could be asking your spouse to take on more of the chores. You could also maybe decide some of your children are old enough to do the chores now, like whatever. You could also be like, you know what, I'm going to hire like a meal service, or I'm going to hire like a cleaner to clean my house once a month, like whatever it happens to be. Take something or multiple things off of your plate this week. You guys all remember probably the 6 of wands is the victory card in the tarot. And so what do we need to go from the 10 to the 6? The victory is to remove 4 wands in particular from our plate. Like we've got too much on our plate right now. We need to remove some of that shit as we make a transition into this week. That's important. So what can you remove from your plate? That is something that I really want you to be thinking about. Conserve your energy, protect your energy. This could even be something mundane and stupid, like arguing with people on the internet. Stop doing that shit. You don't need to argue with people on the internet. Just like let it go. It could be stupid arguments with friends. It can be like talking to idiots on dating apps. You know, you could just decide, you know what, instead of having a conversation with someone, convincing them why they're stupid, I'm just going to unmatch them. Problem solved, right? Like we don't have to explain everything to anyone. It's fine. This is all about conserving our energy. Fire wands is our spark, our energy, which is so precious, especially as we get older. There's a little bit less of it to go around. So protect your energy. If you get some of these wands off of your back, you'll actually be able to see clearly. Right now, you've got so much on your plate that you can't see fully where you're going. Look at this person. He's like just going to walk into something, because all the things that are on his plate is holding him down, so he can't even see where the hell he's going. That is going to be you this week in some which kind of way. So get some of that shit off of your back in whatever way you can. Ask for help, delegate it, be like, that's not my job. Get your kids to do it, get your partner to do it, whatever. Get some of that shit off your plate. Very, very important for this week. Next card we got is reversed 10 of cups. So I actually love this card, and it's interesting when it comes up reversed, right? A reversal tends to indicate some kind of blockage to something. And so I'm really curious if you guys are going to be feeling so burdened and overwhelmed this week that you're blocking some of your friends and family and loved ones and doing fun shit. And the reversal is like, no, we don't want that. We want to be able to make time and space for some of this stuff. And if we're able to get some of these wands off of our back, off of our plate, we'll be able to have some time and space and energy to spend in our emotional life, right? So cups are our emotional life, friends, family, lovers, whatever. This could also be spending time on your art, spending time on creativity, spending time on your spirituality. The cup suit is the emotional, intuitive suit. So interpret that whatever which way you will. Oh, and hello, someone is in the chat. So good to see you. Yeah, need to journal and reflect about all of this. Absolutely. This is a time for reflection, getting rid of some of this shit, making room for more of this joy. And we see this beautiful rainbow here, which I really love. We also see some kids dancing. So is there a way that you can connect with your inner child? Is there a way that you can connect with your joy this week? once you get some of this shit off of your plate. Very important. All right, let's move along and go to the next few cards. We've got here the reversed 3 of Wands. Interesting card. And I'll show you guys this right setup just so you can see what's going on here. So we see somebody looking at the ships or going every which way. Show you guys close up. You can see those little ships at the bottom there in the water. And this dude is like seeing where it's all going, just observing. And so there's going to be some aspects of your life that will benefit you to be in observation mode about this week. This could be you sending out job applications. It could be you sending out grant applications. It could be you, I don't know, if you're single and you're asking people out, that's your thing. It could be you asking people out. Some kind of which way you are going to be making asks of people that are going to have some kind of implication on your future, right? So we go from 2 10s to a 3. So we go to like the ending of a journey, moving along, refresh, recycle to the beginning of a journey. And so we're not going to have all the answers this week necessarily. This is just what seeds are we planting? What emails are we sending? Who are we cold calling, right? Like if you're like me and you've got a few books out, one of like my most recent one, Curse and Cure, Magic for Real Life, is self-published. Like if this was going to be a card I was pulling for me, it would be like, okay, who can I email to put my book in their store, right? That's what these little like ship friends could also be. Maybe you're a musician. Maybe you want to book gigs. That would also be like sending emails to the different venues and like promoters and be like, can we work together? Can we figure some stuff out? This is like sending your ships out and stuff that is not going to have an immediate effect, but over time it will. There will be these positive repercussions, these rewards as a result of the effort that you are planting right now, these ships that you're sending out in various directions. And you'll notice these ships are all going different places. You know, some of them are like every which way. And so this also might be saying, send your feelers out in a few different directions. If you're single and dating, don't just ask one person out or don't just accept one date from one person. Go meet a bunch of people. Go to a few networking events. If you're interviewing for a job, like interview at a few different companies. If you're hiring for your workplace, interview a few different people. Not just all your eggs in one basket. Really kind of have a bit of a wider view of things this week. Very, very important. Have your eye on the future. It's very much a future planning card. It's reversed, so don't neglect this. Very important. You might just want to do like one and done. That card is like, no one and done. We're going to try a lot of different things. Next card, Queen of Pentacles. I think we got this last week, but I could be wrong. Again, focusing on your home, beautifying your home, cooking, spring cleaning, getting rid of shit that you don't use anymore, getting organized, cooking more, doing like a pantry audit, going to get more groceries, like pantry staples, learning new recipes, beautifying your office, beautifying your bathroom, like getting some bath salts. Like this is very much like leaning into the beauty of your home, your physical environment. Look how at one she looks with the physical space around her, right? Like she's kind of blending into the environment. The flowers and the kind of the sides of this card are very blended in to the throne that she sits on. And so there is very much something with this card about existing in tandem and in good relationship with our environment. Everything should feel cohesive. We should feel happy at home. We should feel like we belong. And if we don't, what can we do to switch that up a little bit? What do we need to do? Do we need to like reorganize our apartment? Do we need to put the couch over where? Do we need to switch the office and make that to be storage and put the office into the living room? Like, what do we need to switch to feel like this at home? Spend some time on that this week, and I know exactly what I need to do with that one. So interestingly, we got the 10 of Wands to the 7. So, okay, hopefully by the end of the week, we'll at least have gotten a few of those things off of our plate. This card is, I think, showing that progress that we'll probably be making throughout the week. So keep that in mind. But you can see this person is still stressed. This person is still like playing whack-a-mole, like, oh my God, look at all this shit that I have to deal with. And so clearly there's still too much going on. So continue to simplify your life. Continue to take some shit off of your plate. Because clearly from 10 to 7 is still a little bit too much. You can see this person is not picking their battles wisely, but they don't really have a choice in this card. They're going to be attacked if they don't, push all of these wands attacking them down. So your job this week is to decide what are these things, right? So we go from carrying wands. What wands are you carrying? What is all the bullshit obligation stuff that you're carrying that is not yours to carry? Moving from that to this, who all is trying to come for you? Who all is trying to put their responsibilities on your plate, right? So in that 10, you're already holding this stuff, right? Hopefully by some point this week, you will not be holding that much, but still, even after you drop some of those wands, people are going to try to give them back to you. So this card is also all about boundaries. Can you keep all those other people's wands and obligations away and out of your situation? That is the project, right? Because if we can't master this card, we're just going to end up back here in 2 seconds anyway. So here's the steps. That's what we got to figure out this week. Getting rid of some of that stuff on our plate. You're probably doing too much, right? And then we go from the 7 of Wands to a reversed 2. Very interesting. And we had the 3 of Wands earlier, also reversed. This card is also about future planning. I'll show you guys this right side up so you can kind of see what's going on. And we have 1 wand inside the walls of the castle and 1 wand that is free. You guys can kind of see that. One of them is bolted, you can see, to the wall. And the other one is like freestanding, free-flowing, right? And so one thing to think about here is what of your energy and your time and all of that is devoted to and tied up and bolted onto something like this wand is. That can be childcare obligations, that can be work obligations, it can be both. Where is your energy tied up like this wand? And where is your energy yours to do whatever you want with it? What is the balance there? Is that how you want it to be? Are you spending your energy where you want to be spending your energy? Can you be working with your energy better than you currently are? Where are you wasting time? Where are you wasting your life away? And how can you stop doing that? More crucially, how can you motivate yourself to stop doing that? And obviously we all have these phases where it's like you're just going to be a lump for a little while. I think that happens to all of us at some point. But at what point are you going to be like, you know what? I'm going to stop with the lump thing. Like I'm good. Like I got that all Netflix and chill out of my system. Now I want to go explore the world. Now I want to go do this. Now I want to go write a book. Now I want to go paint. Like whatever it is that you want to do. You want to take a class. Like, I don't know. You've got so many options. This dude is holding the world in his hand. You are also holding the world in your hand. So what do you want to do about that? Where do you want to go? This card is a reminder that you can do anything you put your mind to. I know that sounds very cheesy, but it's true, right? Where do you want to go? Dream big. This card is a reminder to dream big and to remember that you do have this world in your hand. Where do you want to go? This card reminds me a little bit of the Chariot in the Major Arcana, that we don't have any Major Arcana in this pull whatsoever. But again, it's about planning. Where the fuck do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to end up? And allowing yourself to be like, okay, yes, these are my obligations. This is the stuff that can't change. This wand bolted to the castle. And yet, where can you direct that freestanding wand? That time that is yours? What magic can you create with that? And it can be a business. It can be painting. It can be learning to cook. It can be whatever. It can be a money-making thing. It doesn't have to be. It can just be something silly. It can be something fun. But this is all about where are you putting your energy. But notice that we went at the start of the reading from the 10 of Wands to the 2 of Wands. That means you need to remove 8 wands from your back in order to be able to see clearly this week. Really streamline where your energy is going this week. Automate whatever you can. Delegate whatever you can. Fine tune it to the extent where you can see, okay, what is specific in my life? Like, what is the shit that I'm obligated to do? There's no getting out of it. And where's my room to play? If it's helpful, someone in the chat wrote about journaling and reflecting. Absolutely. Make a list. Don't have to do it all in one night. Reflect about this over the course of the week. Make a list. Obligations like childcare, parenting, obviously stuff like that. You're going to want to keep that as an obligation. But what about that fluid time? You know, like if you're spending, like I said earlier, time arguing on the internet, watching too much Netflix, what can you cut out? What can you change to put your energy towards something that actually continues to give you fire as opposed to just like numbs you to reality? Nothing against Netflix, but I do find painting a little bit more fulfilling, even though I watch Netflix more than I paint. So this is calling me out as well. So don't worry if you're feeling called out by this. It's like same. But that's the beauty of tarot. It's not just you guys that get called out. It is also me. So the last card we got here for the tarot portion, and who knows, maybe I'll pull one or two more just for fun. 2 of Pentacles. So once we get from the 10 to the 2 of Wands, right, we're honing down, we're fine-tuning, we're simplifying. We now get to start fresh in a way. So the 2 of Pentacles is all about physical world collaborations, work partnerships, starting a business with somebody, buying a house with somebody. That can also be like legal agreements, marriage, mortgage, like whatever. Think really carefully about the partnerships, the agreements you're getting into with people. It should be a connection where both parties help to create something that is more infinite, more beautiful, more expansive. Hence the infinity symbol we see in green on this card. Don't just partner up with anybody. It's not going to go well. It's not worth your time. So once we fine tune, we got to keep it lean. Keep it lean. Because you could easily go back from this 2 up to the 10 again. And then we're just in the same drama that we started in. Okay, friends? So I want to pull like one more tarot card for this week, just as an overall situation. And if anyone wants to chime in the chat, feel free. But if you're just browsing, that is cool too. Let's see what we got. One more tarot card for this week ahead, last week of April. What else do we need to know? 2 cards, actually. Okay, cool. Still only minor arcana for this week. Very interesting. I think this is the only week so far that it's been only minor. So here's the last 2 for this week. Knight of Wands reversed, and then the 8 of Wands. So again, this Wands theme is like exploding all over the place. So now out of, how many cards did we pull? 7? Out of 7 cards, 7 plus 2, so that's 9. We got Hella Wands. These are the other ones. 2, 10, 7, 3. And now we've got even more. More wands, the 8 and the reverse Knight. Very interesting. So I do feel that the Knight of Wands, like this is the Knight's most natural space, most natural element in my opinion. And so what's interesting is like, even though this is a very natural space for the Knight, the Wands is happy as a Knight. Oh, am I doing anything for Beltane? No, I'm not. I actually don't celebrate Beltane, which I know is maybe shocking. But I just don't. Oh, I guess I'm starting Magic May, though. So if anyone hasn't signed up for that yet, I'm just going to put it in the chat. It is my... Let me just write this down. So it's going to be like 31 days of daily magical inspo on Telegram. So it's going to be like the most fun group chat. I've got 28 people already signed up. It's only $47. So that's what I'm doing for Beltane, I guess. That's what I'm doing for May, is like a daily magic challenge for a month. I think it'll be really fun. Anyway, go to the website, details, check it out. The link is in the chat if you care. So anyway, so the Knight of Wands, it is its kind of natural spot, I would say, but since it came up reversed, it's reminding us that even when we are well suited to do a task, even when we are in our element on like execution, doesn't mean we need to rush into it. It doesn't mean that we need to just like do something just because we're good at it or just because we want to. It's like, let's look at the additional stuff with that. Is it good timing? Like, is it going to be beneficial? Is it really going to free you up and help you fine tune your life? Or is it just going to be busy work, right? Like you could do something, but would it be just busy work? Same, right? It's up to you to figure that out. And I think this card showing up reversed, it pairs quite nicely with our other final tarot card, this 8 of Wands, which is all about focus. So don't be scattered. Don't be working on 20 million projects. Finish one project at a time. This is calling me out because I need to finish my PhD. So if anyone is also feeling called out, I'm right there with you. You'll notice all these wands are going the exact same direction. They're not like flippy floppy everywhere. It's like, no, eye on the prize, do what you need to do, focus on the thing. Yeah, I know you might want to write this book and that book and this other book, but you're going to finish the PhD, in my case, before you do those other books, right? And so this might show up differently for you guys. Maybe it's, I don't know, any other kind of way. Who knows how this is showing up for you guys? I think it could show up in a lot of different ways. But the name of the game here is focusing on one thing at a time, finishing whatever the fuck it is that you need to finish. So if you're working on 20 million projects at the same time, like you're never going to get anything done in a timely fashion. And again, this card is calling me out as well as it's calling you guys out. So you're going to get the projects done a lot faster this week if you prioritize and you really focus in 100% on one project at a time. If you're remodeling your house, if you're renovating something, don't do like a little bit here, a little bit there in every single room of your apartment. And so for some reason, the light is like looking really weird on the screen. So I don't know what that's about. Sorry, guys. But what you're going to want to do is just one thing at a time. Focus, 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 focus. That's the name of the game for this week. Don't be scattered. One thing at a time. And this week is all about the wands. It's all about our fire energy. It's all about protecting our energy. It's all about getting rid of this shit that drains our energy. It's about taking some of that energy and peace back for ourselves so that we can actually like funnel our energy into what we actually fucking care about. That could be art, that could be reading, that could be making a podcast, it can be starting a business, it could be spending more time with your family and friends. It doesn't have to be serious, but also could be, right? So this week is like a huge energy audit. Like, where the fuck are you putting your energy? You know, is it making you happy? And notice the order of these cards, right? So we went from, in order that I pulled them, the 10 of Wands. Eventually, there's some other ones along the way. 7, the 2. So finally, okay, we've distilled it to the basics. And then only once we do that and we get rid of all the fucking bullshit, only then can we ramp it back up in a focused, disciplined way, right? Again, Wands is our life force, our vital energy. Incredibly important. That we're not misusing it, that we're not lazy about it. And like, don't get me wrong, I love being lazy sometimes. But are we using our precious energy in the best way for us, right? Because sometimes getting off our ass and doing the thing that we don't want to do is going to be so much more enriching and joyful, even if we're like so exhausted, we don't want to walk to the grocery store, we don't want to cook, we don't want to start drawing the project. But once we actually do it, it's like, okay, this is its own reward. So that's something to keep in mind this week, my friends. And so that's the tarot vibe check. And now I'm going to switcheroo into our oracle cards for the week. So this is the first oracle card deck I'm going to be reading from. Again, this was a gift. Everyone asked me where this came from, and I'm like, I can't help you. I have no idea. I know it is like not in English. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just have to do the thing. So it's interesting. You're saying sometimes you just have to do and think later. And I think this week there is some thinking involved, even though there is no swords in this week's reading. But that being said, I think it's more of a thinking with our energy, like thinking about and feeling into our energy and deciding, having that discernment of where should our energy be going. Like there is some thought that has to come in with that. And often the do and think later, or like the do and then audit later, like that results in that 10 of Wands vibe where there's so much on our plate just all of a sudden. And we're like, well, how the fuck did I get here? So there's there's a complicatedness with that. But anywho, let me just see what this sassy oracle says for this week. What do we need to know? Maybe we will pull 3 cards from this oracle. This is probably one of my favorite oracle decks I've ever seen. It's like so bitchy in like the best way. Okay, 1. No. Sometimes I'm about to pull a card and the deck is like, no, it's not the one. Let's see. No. All right, 4 cards. Let's see what we got. Okay. Sorry, my computer just did a weird beep. Okay. Great, fun cards. Never doubt your instinct. I love that. So if you guys are having any difficulty this week figuring out, like, what is it that needs to be removed from that 10 of Wands overburdened vibe? It's not necessarily about thinking, it is about instinct. And I would say Wands, more than any other suit, is about instinct, which I do think is different from intuition. I think they're related, but they're different. Never doubt your instinct. So that's one way to make decisions this week. Never doubt your instinct. This one is more sassy. Some of you guys are going to like this. Never forgive. We love this. And so I know this is going to be controversial, but I do think sometimes forgiveness is a waste of time. Not that we have to hold a grudge forever, but I think it's fine to just block someone and like not want to fucking work on something. It's like, no, I'm done. You're dead to me. And that's that. I think sometimes we can give up our peace when we don't just like, let something fucking go. Never forgive. Someone fucked you over, you don't have to let them back into your space. Keep that in mind this week. Reveal your innermost thoughts. I love this. So if you're someone who hasn't been sharing what you've been feeling with other people, whether that's friends, family, spouse, whatever, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a person on the internet like me, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you're a writer, get some of that creativity out. Be raw, be honest, whether that's with other people, with yourself, with your art, with your therapist, with your journal. Reveal your innermost thoughts. I like this card. And then this is fun too. Make peace with the past. So if there is anything that you've been holding on to, and it's interesting, right? Because we also got the card that said never forgive. So you can make peace with the past while also not necessarily extending forgiveness to somebody or something. So if there is something from the past that's following you, bothering you, there's an invitation to just make peace with that. And I think this goes quite nicely with these other 2 oracle cards as well. Reveal your innermost thoughts. Never forgive. And never doubt your instinct. I love these. And let's see, Black Cats is saying you've been having crazy dreams lately. Anyone else feels like they have a deeper meaning? Yeah, honestly, I've had some crazy dreams lately too. I haven't written them down, which is probably a mistake. But definitely that's something to pay attention to and see if there is any messages there for you, even if it's not like a literal message. Like I do think that paying attention to our dreams can be a great thing to do spiritually. I love that. Okay, so now for our hippy dippy deck. This is a very hippie deck, but I kind of got a soft spot for it. So this is a total opposite vibe of the one I just read from, but I kind of like how they ricochet against each other. So this one is going to have some kind of hippy dippy suggestion, and it just fell, so that was easy. So it says, when I truly surrender my desires to the universe, a mighty force of faith can set in. Very abstract, but I love it. Let's see, Unmerciful Mermaid Tarot is saying that you're constantly having lion dreams. That's cool. Male lions. You know what? I actually noticed dandelions on my walk to the grocery store earlier today. And my cat says hi. And dandelion, obviously, like, what does that mean? It's like I'm sure someone here probably knows French, but it basically means like the teeth of a lion. And, like, someone who knows French is going to understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to butcher the French because I do not speak French, but that is kind of what that flower is. And at least where I live, the dandelions are like really starting to come up everywhere. And so Merciful Mermaid Tarot, I'm curious if you would ever feel called to do work spiritually with dandelions and the strength card or anything else that does have this connection to lions. I think that's like really cool. I've been seeing a lot of coyotes in my neighborhood, which I am obsessed with. I think they're so cool. I love coyotes. And yes, I'm seeing coyotes in Toronto, which is a city, in case you didn't know. It's like the biggest city in Canada. There's fucking coyotes. And let's see, Black Cats is saying you've been having dreams about snakes. That's awesome. So that's all about transformation, shedding skins, renewal, rebirth. I love that. I have a snake tattoo on my back because my Chinese sign is actually a snake. I think I'm an earth snake in the Chinese zodiac. And that imagery of transformation, shedding skin, becoming reborn, becoming new again, that imagery obviously is very powerful for me as well. So I love that for you. And yeah, Toronto has hella coyotes and foxes and raccoons, obviously, but foxes and yeah, coyotes. Really cool birds too, like blue jays and cardinals we've got. Oh yeah, so next up, we're doing 2 different self-care oracles. These are the self-care wisdom cards. So let's see what we got. Some self-care advice for the week. Let's see, Merciful Mermaid Tarot is saying, my Indigenous friend said that it means you're afraid or distrustful of men. Every time you have the dream, the lions are more aggressive. I've never heard that personally. So let me just give a little speech about that really quick. So why I think it's really important to work with our own like library of meaning, which is what I call it in my Tarot Without Bullshit course. There's a whole section about this. I think it's important to work with our own library of meaning, our own repository of meaning that comes from our own culture, that comes from our own life experience, that comes from our own connection to different symbols. Oh my God, it was relax. I guess I'll hold her well. I'm telling you guys this. And so even though it might have that meaning for your friend, what the lions mean, like you've got to think about like, what does that lion mean to you? Like, have you ever thought any kind of way about lions? Like, have lions been a favorite animal maybe when you were a little kid? I know a lot of time little kids love like, safari animals and stuff like that. Or did you have a bad experience with someone who was a Leo? Or do you have a relationship with the Strength Tarot card, which also has a lion? Like I honestly feel like probably the answer to what does a lion's showing up in your dreams, what does that mean? I think you're going to find that not from someone else's interpretation, but from your own thinking back into your own history, your own psychology with what the fuck does a lion mean to you? And I think eventually you'll figure it out. But my intuition is that like what your friend has shared is I don't think that would be the meaning, to be honest with you. Because for instance, like I know a lot of cultures think that like snakes are sketchy and owls are sketchy, but like I love owls and I love snakes. So some cultures are gonna be like, oh, you dreamed of an owl, it's a bad omen, someone's gonna die. And I'll be like, Hell no. Like, I love owls. Like, they're one of my personal animals. Like, to me, it's a good sign. It's a good omen, right? And you just said that you took it as a fear of standing in your own power. To me, that resonates. I think that's probably what that was about, right? And so our own interpretations of this stuff is always going to be, I would say, like, up there in terms of the most powerful. Like, it's important that you honor your own meanings, right? Like, your own interpretations of these symbols, especially since you are working in, like, from my understanding, like a Western magical occult tradition where a lot like that, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's what I feel about that. I think your own interpretation is more accurate than your friends. That's what I'll say. Anyway, so let's just see what our self-care cards say. Let's see what we got here. The cat is on my lap now. She's happy. What do we need to think about self-care wise this week? Ooh. A bunch are like, we need to come out. Way more than I thought. Oh wait, a lot. Okay, I'm cutting off the deck. No more. It's okay. Priorities. And it says on the back, the quality of your life is determined by how you spend your time. Make sure your schedule reflects the life that you want. Oh my God, that's like exactly what the tarot reading said. This is like the oracle card for going from that 10 of wands to the 2 of wands and then ramping it back up to the 8. This is like literally the oracle card for what the tarot reading just was. I love that. Okay, there's a hella big pile here of these cards. For some reason, like, we need a lot of self-care this week. This one says invitation. On the back it says, the words you speak are an invitation to a life. A request to bring energy into form. Choose your words wisely. So no complaining this week, my friends. Positive things and welcome good things into your life. Cut out the shit that is not for you. Be optimistic. Be positive. Next one is needs. My cat just made the funniest noise. Needs. It's like a pool in the shape of a clock. This is so good. On the back it says, do you need more time to yourself? A break from thinking too much? Do you need a kind encounter with a friend? Your needs matter and it's time to honor them. So cut down on the Netflix time, cut down on the scrolling of the internet, and do something that actually is like a self-care need of yours. Whether that's taking a spa day or talking to a friend or like taking a break from thinking too much, like it says here. Yeah, and it's funny because there's, again, was no swords in our tarot reading for this week. And swords, of course, are associated with thinking. So, okay, this one says surrender. Oh, cute little angel. It says stop trying to control life. It gets in the way of divine intervention. So let go and let God is a common phrase that I've heard. And whether or not you believe in God, I think the idea is a nice one, right? Sometimes if we try to control everything, then we don't end up as somewhere as good as we could. Next one is breathe. The calmer you are, the more time slows down and the easier it is to get everything done. You have to go slow to go fast. I've heard that. I think that's true. Another one says release. Sometimes the best way to grow is to simply let go. I think that's true. And I think that backs up the tarot reading as well, moving from that 10 of wands to the 2 of wands and then ramping it back up to the 8. Truth. Truth as different at different levels of consciousness. Reserve judgment. So let other people be on their journey. Their journey is their journey. They can be doing some stupid shit. That's fine. Stay out of it. It's not your problem. Unless they're your kids, then it is your problem. But otherwise, just like release it, I would say. We've got 2 more left from this deck. Energy, and I love this, is coffee, my favorite. Stop trying to please everyone. Everyone is a whole lot of people. Protect your energy. I love this. So this does, again, back up the tarot reading from earlier, moving from that 10 of wands to the 7, to the 3, to the 2, And then once we've pared it all down, fine-tuned it, we can ramp it back up to the 8 in the stuff that is actually what we want to be working on. Protect your energy. It's precious. Energy is wands, it's fire, right? Very important. And this is my favorite card. Pamper. Self-care is a necessity, not a luxury. Take a bath with your cat if you're me. Yesterday I took like 3 baths. It was ridiculous. So those are self-care cards from that one deck. And then let's see what we got from the other deck. So the other self-care deck is this one. Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So this one is going to tell you shit to do. The other one is like giving you vibes. This one is like, do this, do that. And you're saying you love that Awa started talking when you mentioned lions. She knows you're talking about her giant cat cousins. Absolutely. They do know. They're smart. They know the things. It's kind of crazy. So, okay, let's see what we got here in terms of more self-care homework for you guys. And don't worry, I will be doing this self-care homework too. Let's see what we got. Drink tea. Maybe I will do this after this live. Drink tea. I don't know what your all favorite tea is, but I've been on like a mint tea kick. Mint tea and oolong. There's a tea from David's Tea. I don't know if you guys know that company, but it's called The Skinny, and it's like an oolong, like digestion tea. It's super good. I've been having that lately. Okay, what else do we need to do self-care homework-wise? Burning bowl ritual. I always pull this and I never do it, so I think this is just going to keep coming up until I do it. So what this basically is like release what the fuck you need to release by burning it in a little bowl. It can be a really powerful ritual. I just am avoiding it because I'm lazy. And you'll see the little thing there says let it go. So it's just like release whatever you want. And this does relate quite nicely to that 10 of Wands earlier, that very burdened card where the person is carrying too much shit. So that can be one way to kickstart this process, is to just let it go. Write down whatever the fuck you want to get off your plate on a little pieces of paper. Burn it in obviously a fire-safe container. We don't need you setting your house on fire and dying. Don't need that. Right? Burning bowl ritual. I like that. What else do we need to do this week self-care wise? 2 more. No, 3 more. Okay, well, I just did this one, so that's great. Make a meal. So if you haven't cooked in a while, this is calling you out to cook your own food with some avocados. Delicious. Now let's see. Black Cats is saying it's cool sometimes to write down things you're thinking, read it, and then burn it and let it go. Absolutely. We don't always need to hold on to everything. Hydrate. Drink a lot of water this week. And it's interesting that so many of these, I love it. There's a mix of like the physical body stuff. It's like drink tea, drink water, cook good food. And then there's the rituals, burning bowl ritual. And then this other one says sound healing. And so that you can interpret that whichever way you want, whether you do want to do these like bowl things, singing bowls, I guess they're called. I never really got what that was about, but you could do the bowl thing. There's also YouTube. You can listen to like different frequencies. Sometimes I've done that too. It's like the love frequency, the healing frequency, the money frequency. Like, it's kind of cool. Like, at first I was like, this is kind of like silly, but then I started listening to it and I was like, oh, this actually is very like relaxing. Like, whether or not it's doing anything spiritual, I have no idea. It probably is, but it's actually can be very soothing sounds if you find like one that you like, just to play in the background while you're doing whatever. Sound healing. So that's the other self-care homework, my friends, for this week. That's pretty fun. And so that is our tarot vibe forecast with bonus for different oracle decks this week. Yeah, music therapy, absolutely. So like if there's any songs even that connect you with certain emotions that you want to let go. Yeah, and Merciful Mermaid Tarot saying burning bowl fire, hydrate water, and sand bowl air. And then cooking a meal is earth. So it's kind of like nice, all the different elements in there, which is really cool. And I love that there's so much like body-based stuff, like drink water, drink tea, cook food, because this week is all about that like fine-tuning of like where are we putting our energy. And so it's kind of telling us like take care of our physical body. It's going to help us, cultivate our energy, protect our energy as we're doing all of this stuff. Yeah. So that's this week's reading, a little bit later than usual, but a lot more people showed up impromptu than when I do it in the middle of the day. So maybe this should be like a Sunday night thing or a Monday night thing. I don't know. That most people are done work by now, I guess. So that's probably why folks are able to tune in. But I'm so glad you guys are chiming in on the chat. It's been so good, so fun. Any final questions, thoughts, vibes before we close out this week's reading? It's so nice to have folks in the chat while I'm doing this too. And yeah, way more people than when I'm doing this during the day. It's kind of nice, even though the lighting is not as good. Yeah, and musical instruments could be seen as wands, absolutely, depending on the instrument, which I think is kind of cool. All right, beautiful people. There's no more questions. That is it for the Tarot Vibe forecast. If you're getting here late and you missed the beginning, that's okay. I'll post this and it will, I think, do its loading thing for a few minutes. Then you'll be able to watch from the beginning. If that's something that you want to do, if this did resonate with you, please comment. Please subscribe, please share, etc. And of course, sign up for Magic May if you guys haven't done that already. You can check that out at sabrinamscott.com/magicmay. And also I'm doing a recession era witchcraft masterclass on Sunday, the 30th. Yeah, 30th. So the information about that is sabrinamscott.com/recession. So the whole point of that one is to just dive into witchcraft of this moment. Everyone's stressed out, everyone's broke, everyone's freaking the fuck out. And I think sometimes we forget that, oh yeah, we're witches. We can solve our problems right now. Money, scarcity, all of that with witchcraft. Magic does not have to cost very much money. I can teach you how to do magic with the random shit that you have in your house. And so if you feel like you're struggling in this moment, that masterclass is absolutely for you. And even if you're not struggling and you just want to learn some new tips and tricks on how to summon a better situation into your life in these crazy tumultuous, unprecedented times, that keep ramping up of unprecedentedness. You can check that out. It's called Recession Era Witchcraft. Again, the URL is sabrinamscott.com/recession era witchcraft. And of course, I hope you all are going to be joining me for Magic May, which is basically the coolest magical witchy group chat ever. It's every day for the month of May, I'll be sending little voice memos, magical prompts, magical inspiration to reconnect all y'all to your magical witchy spiritual practice. Because I know sometimes even people have been practicing for a really, really long time just get bored or disconnected or uninspired. And so if that's interesting to you, I hope you'll sign up as well. So sabrinamscott.com/magicmay. And the other thing is my Feminine Energy Without Bullshit is soft launching right now. So I'm not going to say too much about that on this live, but I'll probably do another one where I will talk about it because I think it is super cool. And so if anyone's curious about that, learning about feminine energy, just say hello in whatever way you want. My email is ceo@sabrinamscott.com. And if you do want to check out the Feminine Energy course, you can do so at sabrinamscott.com/FEWOBS. So it stands for Feminine Energy Without Bullshit. So FEWOBs. My magic and tarot students tend to call my other courses MWOBs and TWOBs for Magic Without Bullshit and Tarot Without Bullshit. So we're just continuing the no bullshit thread of courses and acronyms. So if anyone's got any questions about that, feel free to send me an email, reach out on Instagram, send a comment here, whatever. I will probably see it. And if not, just keep poking me until I reply. Okay, friends, thank you so much for joining me. And again, if you missed the beginning, don't worry. It will be uploading very soon and then restarting. So much love. Thank you so much for sharing some of your day with me and some of your evening, I guess, too. Bye, friends. Have a good week.